Welcome to Krita detailed and comprehensive step-by-step interface tutorial. If you have not yet installed Krita on your device, we strongly recommend that you find and follow our previous content on the most basic level, such as installation and general introduction, on our channel. We launched Krita, and the program opened immediately after a great 25th anniversary cover image. Every time you open Krita, you are greeted with the welcome screen, and in the center, there is a space to help you quickly find your previous work. Of course, if you have just installed the software and haven't done any work yet, the space to show previous work and images will be empty. If you want, you can reset and clear the previous pictures or work section. At the top are the File and Action menus, which can be found in almost every windowed application. In a submenu is the Toolbar. In a moment, we will go into details of the other actions and tools that will become visible when we open an image file. On the left side of the welcome screen, you can see the Start section, where you have the options to open or start a new image and an existing image file. On the left side and further down, you can see another section with links to the community website and Krita. On the far right, there are links to follow news, important announcements, and updates about Krita. This is a brief introduction to the welcome screen. Now let's quickly open and close an existing image file and examine the quick access menu in the center of the welcome screen. As you can see, the last opened image file is now visible. And we go to the option to create a new image file to start entering all the details of the Krita interface. As soon as we click, we are presented with a new document creation dialog or panel. On the right side of the panel, it offers you preset or modifiable and customizable templates for the type of document you will create. The purpose of these presets and templates is to save you time with quick, preloaded settings and templates, if you are going to work to a certain standard, or to help you create documents within standard limits. Of course, you can change your own standards as you wish from the customizable settings. For example, you can choose from a set of presets for a general standard artwork, or quick presets and templates for an animation type work, and other comic manga type templates, as well as many presets for other design or photo and texture work. Today we will create a document with a custom setting, and even when creating a document with a custom setting, we will be able to shape our document and our images by selecting any standard or non-standard frame or setting from the many preloaded standard settings. From the drop-down menu, with predefined settings, you can see the formats of the most common standards worldwide. You can choose from many standard paper, frame, canvas, or screen size settings, such as A3, A4, film frame, and other image document aspect ratios in standards with different resolution sizes and other predefined settings, and even a range of settings for texture rendering are ready. You can select and use any of the predefined settings, and even modify any standard setting. For the default setting of the document we are going to create, we have selected A3 and a resolution in pixel inches with a preset of 600 pixels per inch. And then you can see that the other settings, such as height and width, which are found individually below, are automatically updated. In addition, we set the orientation of the canvas horizontally instead of vertically. If you want to see the height and width frame settings in different units, you can change them to inches, pixels, centimeters, and other units. Further down in the color-related settings that may be needed for more professional work, RGB is generally preferred for displays. CMYK is more preferred for printing. But you can select and change color settings for different standards. We will continue without making changes in the color section. Before moving on to the other sections, we would like to remind you again that you do not have to stick to the standard settings you have chosen. You can manually enter the different values you want in the boxes shown as aspect settings. The bottom section gives a textual expression of the settings we have selected. At the top, besides the size settings, There are content settings where you can choose the document name, the description, the number of layers the document will initially have, the color and transparency of the layer or background, all of which you can also change after creating the document. For now, we prefer to create a document with the other presets we have chosen, without making changes here, as we don't find it necessary. If you have just installed the Krita software, or have not yet made any changes to the normal interface settings, you will see approximately this kind of workspace layout. Basically, in Krita, or other industry standard drawing design art software, we can say that the interface actually consists of two main parts. The first is the workspace, in the center of which is a canvas connected to the layer system. And in the areas outside of it are subwindows and toolboxes, also called dockers, usually attached to the edge boundaries of the application. In Krita, it divides access to most of its features into functional panels called dockers. Dockers are small windows that can contain, for example, things like a layer stack, color palette, or brush presets. Think of them as a painter's palette, set of watercolors, or brushes. In fact, in general, you can think of the Krita editor as a real-life painter's workspace, with a canvas in the center and drawing design tools, brushes, paints and pencils, and other tools and materials around it. As you can see on the welcome screen, the File and Action menus, which can be found in almost every windowed application, are located at the top. A sub-menu is the Toolbar, and you can see that many other drawing design tools are active when an image file is open. The toolbar, in a nutshell, is where you can select your brushes, adjust parameters like matteness, size, and other settings. But this is not the only toolbar. We can also select brushes from other toolbars and dockers, and we will look at the other toolbars and panels in a little more detail. On the left and right sides, you can see the tool panels or docker sub-windows and added menus. Portable panels or sidebars are known as interlocking spaces. Krita also allows you to place panels on top and/or bottom, which we will explain in a moment with detailed examples. At the bottom is the status bar, which shows the preferred mode for displaying the selection, such as marching ants or mask mode, which gives control over brush preset, color space, image size, and a suitable zoom. Floating panel. These can be launched from docks or berths at any time to see a wider range of options. A good example of this would be the preset panel or the palette panel, and we will give detailed examples of this in a moment. In the Krita editor, the status bar at the bottom and the File and Action menus at the top are fixed, while all other panels can be placed and repositioned in any way and from any angle. Under the View tab in the File and Action menu, we can choose to turn on or off some of the elements that appear in the interface. For example, we can turn rulers on or off. Similarly, we can switch to Canvas View only, and even make preferences in Canvas View, such as whether the rulers are on or off. We can use Krita in full screen mode. We can also perform these operations using keyboard shortcut keys. For example, the Tab key can be used to switch to Canvas View, or to switch from Canvas View back to normal view. Under the Settings tab in the File and Action menu, there are theme appearance preferences for Krita software. Let's show them one by one. As with the interface preferences of all industry standard professional software, some are prepared with light colors, while some themes offer us the ideal theme preferences for dark colors and eye focus. We generally prefer dark themes for eye comfort, and to make it easier to focus, this theme preference is only a preference for the colors of the program interface. You can choose any theme you like. As we mentioned at the beginning, in the Krita editor, the status bar at the bottom and the File and Action menus at the top are fixed, while all other panels can be placed and repositioned in any way and from any angle. Now we will explain it with examples The first example is to turn the docked toolbar on the left into a floating window or panel, and then we will move or dock it wherever we want. As you can see, we can move it to the top, collapse and expand it, tab it along with other panels. We can do this with all dockable child windows and panels. With these and other features that we will show you, the Krita editor is very flexible. It can be shaped and modified in a very practical way, according to your own style, preferences, and wishes, just like Lego. Workspace Presets gives you a ready-made template or great references to get you started. Workspaces are basically saved configurations of Dockers. Each workspace records how Dockers are grouped and where they are placed on the screen. They allow you to easily move between workflows without having to manually reconfigure your setup each time. The workspaces can be as simple or as complex as you want depending on the workflow you will focus on. For example, you may have a different preference for an artwork workflow, or for animation work, or for other design work. All this and more, you can also save a workspace setting with your favorite preferences that you create yourself. Under the Settings tab in the File and Action menu, there is an option to show or not show Dockers. Below that, there is a section with all Dockers, making it easy to open or close them one by one. As an example, we enable the Overview Docker or sub-window. If at first it does not appear as a sub-window in the center of the screen, the editor can automatically place the panel in the optimal position. Here we find the Overview panel docked to the Dockers on the right side. And now we can move it freely with drag and drop, move it to different regions for a different layout or placement, or use this Overview panel while it is floating, expand, and collapse. To explain it better, let's choose a pre-designed image instead of a blank canvas. Open it as two documents and analyze it. This panel allows you to see a complete overview of your image. You can also use it to quickly navigate and zoom in and out. Dragging the view rectangle allows you to quickly move the view. There are also basic navigation functions. Dragging the zoom slider allows you to quickly change the zoom. We test by customizing our workspace by placing the Overview panel in different places. You can place it right or left, as a sub-window with other panels, or as an independent floating window, whichever you prefer, or if you don't want to use it at all, you can close it and reopen it whenever you want. The status bar contains some of the features found in the Overview panel, zoom scroll bars, and options such as orientation. We'll explore all this and more with alternate paths and shortcuts as we explore navigation topics in detail. To give an even clearer example, after opening and closing all the Dockers, we make them all floating, just like taking apart a Lego. And then we rearrange and reorganize them like a Lego, according to our preferences and tastes or our workflow plan. We also open the Quick Settings Docker to include it in our workspace and place it in a convenient place for us. We can also add the palette panel and other Docker sub-windows and dock them wherever we want. So we can experience how flexible and customizable the Krita interface is. If we don't want to make the mistake of accidentally floating and moving sub-windows, panels, or Dockers, we can lock or unlock them and make them move again. Even if we accidentally closed a panel or Docker, it has the ability to reopen and close Dockers one by one under the Settings tab in the File and Action menu. In addition to moving panels wherever we want, we can collapse and expand them to determine the total space they will occupy, add them as a tab next to other panels, or place them as a group. From the Workspace setting menu in the top right corner, we can save the workspace setting with a new name, or select different workspace layouts and switch between them at any time. For permanence, and because we want to use the custom workspace setting we created the next time we open the Krita editor, we save it as a kind of workspace setting with a name. Now let's switch to the standard workspace layout and take a look at the side panel with the side toolbar, where the tools are organized in groups. In general, drawing design tools help you modify visual data. The most widely known drawing design tool is of course the freehand brush, which is the default when you open Krita. There are roughly 5 types of tools in Krita: vector tools, paint tools, transform tools, grid tools, and selection tools. We'll explore and explain each of these tools in detail later, but for now we'll stick to focusing on the interface. We can change the size of the icons in the toolbars, make them larger or smaller, and adjust their orientation to the right or left, or automatically. By clicking on the foreground color tile, we open the color selection panel, which is another way to select colors. As you can see, some panels are more functional when they are floating. Meanwhile, with the bucket tool selected, we completely cover a layer with a slightly darker color that we have chosen for a dark background that is less bright and more comfortable to the eye than a white canvas. Maybe a slightly darker shade of orange, and yes, it's almost done. We'll go into navigation in detail and even explain the relevant shortcuts in detail. But while we're at it, let's show you a few features like navigation zoom and angled canvas rotation in the overview window. Many panels, such as the Advanced Color Picker panel, have options to access menus with extra settings for detailed adjustment and editing. You can use settings like these to change or prefer standards for more professional color work. We will touch on colors and more advanced settings at a later stage. The Tool Options panel is another important docking station where properties appear according to the selected tool. If you have selected a freehand brush tool, you can see detailed settings for the brush and make changes to various preferences and settings in the Tool Options panel. If you switch to a different tool, for example, a ready-made basic drawing tool, a selection tool, a transform tool, or a vector tool, the Tool Options panel will present you with the settings for that tool based on the currently selected tool, no matter which tool you have selected. As we mentioned earlier, the Krita interface is very flexible, just like a Lego, and you can align the editor's elements, panels, and dockers in any order you like, or change their order according to your preferences using drag and drop. The Brush Preset panel allows you to change the brush you are using and tag brushes. Just mouse left-click on an icon to switch to the brush of your choice. Like the Brush Preset panel, there are different settings for dockers, such as displaying the brushes inside with their names, or reducing or increasing brush icon sizes, or favoring brush packs and groups saved with different labels. We will discuss brushes in general and the Brush Preset panel in more detail later. Krita, like all other industry standard editors, has a very flexible and user-friendly layer system that helps you better control, sort, and manage parts and elements of your image. Like the Brush Preset panel, the Layer Stack panel offers a customizable interface that provides thumbnail size of layers and other necessary ease of use. And layers have all the settings you might need as standard for layer management. We will explore layers in more detail soon. Krita offers many conveniences and a user-friendly customizable interface for beginners, as well as many features for more professional needs, such as the Artistic Color Picker panel. The Artistic Color Picker panel is a color picker inspired by the traditional color wheel and related workflows. More on this later. In the Layer Stack panel, we will create a new painting layer with the plus sign and make random scribbles on the canvas with the free brush. In fact, there are countless possibilities and styles of options and tools for drawing and painting. Whether you consider traditional genres or the new generation of digital design work, it is possible to draw, paint, manipulate, and create all kinds of visual designs in Krita. What we have shown you is a fraction of what we will show you. We haven't even touched on the free resources, brush packs, and other free resources offered by the Krita community. And when we add them in, you might be surprised what a rich design universe you are in. You can also access the workspace settings under the Window tab in the File and Action menus above. Under Settings in the File and Action menu, you will see a panel with Krita's configuration and general settings. The Settings menu houses the configurable options in Krita and allows you to change the overall look and feel of the application. Krita is highly customizable and offers many settings and options to customize through the Preferences area. For example, configuring shortcuts is another way to customize the app for yourself. Whether you're switching from another application like Photoshop or other digital painting and design programs, or you think your own hotkeys make more sense, Krita has you covered. We will take a closer look at these configuration settings and shortcuts later. Under Settings, you can quickly specify which items and tools you want or don't want to appear in the toolbar view. As an example, let's make visible and use the Edit section, which contains related items such as Undo, Forward, Workspace Preference, and Overlay Editing. The Toolbar view gives a list of toolbars that can be shown in Krita. Actually, we can perform these operations with hotkeys like Ctrl+Z, or from the Edit menu, and since we can access the workspace preferences in two different ways, we don't find it necessary to make this section visible. You can leave it open if you wish. We can make the Brushes and Material toolbar and the main toolbar visible or invisible. We can add other and different elements between the main toolbar, the New, Open, and Save buttons, and to the right of the Save button. The Brushes and Materials toolbar allows you to change everything from the Gradients button to the right. This is usually where we do some of our editing. Krita allows you to greatly customize the toolbar interface. You can add, remove, and change the order of almost anything to suit the way you work. To get started, select the Configure Toolbars menu item under Settings. As an example, let's add an item called Use Pen Pressure to the Brushes and Materials toolbar to help us enable or disable pen pressure. To find the relevant item, we type the word pressure in the search field, and the relevant item we were looking for, pen pressure, appeared. In the menu, we have moved the item or tool from the left side, where it is accessible, to the right side, where it is currently in action. And we use drag and drop or up and down to place the item in the order we found appropriate among other materials and tools. After the changes we have made, when we press the Apply button in the menu, the relevant change is made immediately in the Krita interface. As you can see on the canvas, you can see the difference when the pressure is active and passive when using the drawing pen. Let's talk briefly about the eraser icon in the Brushes and Materials set. Activated by the E button, this tool actually converts your existing freehand drawing brush into an eraser mode, so that the moment you click on the E hotkey or the icon symbol, the brush in your hand is completely transformed into an eraser function. There are other specially designed eraser brushes available. But imagine using the current thickness, opacity, and other properties of your existing brush in eraser mode at the same time. This is also a small part of a technique called blending mode, and is very useful. We will go into more practical details later. In the brush and material set, you can see two sliders for brush size and transparency. Through these tools, we can change the brush size and transparency properties. In fact, Krita is probably the most comprehensive digital software for brushes and detailed features and functions. What we mean is that not all brush adjustment properties are limited to opacity and size. These are just a few basic settings. In fact, there are many more brush properties depending on the type of brush, such as flow property, angle if defined. We can place some of these brush properties in the brushes and materials, set as sliders and other menu items, to observe and visually manage the changes we make. From the Configure Toolbars menu under Settings, we will add another slider item related to brushes and use it as a flow adjustment feature. The method is again very practical. We add an element called Use Pen Pressure in the same way as we added it. This time, to find the brush option slider, we typed brush in the search field and even typed the first three letters, immediately selected it from the relevant place, and proceeded to the next step. In the meantime, we add a third brush option slider. It is possible to add more. For now, it is enough for us to have one more for the flow setting. In the menu, we have moved the item or tool from the left side, where it is accessible, to the right side, where it is currently in action. And we use drag and drop or up and down to place the item in the order we found appropriate among other materials and tools. After the changes we have made, when we press the Apply button in the menu, the relevant change is made immediately in the Krita interface. Next to the brush option slider items, there is a drop-down arrow where we can choose which feature we want to keep visible in the editor's interface for the respective brush option slider, or change their order in general. The brush editor is part of a very comprehensive topic that we will cover in more detail later, but there is a massive brush engine that can be used to see which brushes are designed, with which features, and even to modify or produce new brushes in the future, and the brush engine is one of Krita's greatest strengths. As you can see, while there are some brushes with very modest features, even simple brushes that do not change their behavior according to pressure and orientation, that do not even have a flow feature, there are also brushes with much more features. On a brush that can change its flow according to pressure or other factors, we briefly show the brush flow setting and move on to the next stage. In fact, we will go into detail one by one, but since we need to focus on the interface, we prefer to show these parts quickly, and we will definitely explain them in detail in the future. Let's remind one more detail, that in the workspace settings, we can save new workspace settings with the name we want in the editor layout we want according to our own workflow. In the same way, if we want, we can delete the workspace settings that we do not want or will not use with the trash can icon. Another reminder is that from the Configure Toolbars menu under Settings, we can reverse, undo, and rearrange the changes we have made. For example, if we have added an item called Use Pen Pressure, we can make it no longer visible in the editor and vice versa. Since we sometimes use this Use Pen Pressure item, it is convenient for us to have it visible in the editor. You can remove it or make other changes if you want. One of the most important editorial features, the pop-up palette, is unique to Krita among digital painting applications. It is designed to increase productivity and save artists time by providing quick access to some of the most commonly used tools and features in Krita. The pop-up palette is accessible from the canvas. The open circular palette below will appear at the position of your mouse cursor as soon as we right-click on the canvas. Foreground color and background color indicators at the top left of the palette. Canvas rotation circular slider that can help the artist to quickly rotate the canvas while painting. A group of brush presets based on the artist's selected tag. By default, the My Favorite tag is selected. By default, only the first 10 presets from the tag are shown. But you can change the number of brush presets shown by changing the value in the pop-up palette settings in Krita's Preferences dialog. With the color picker, you can select the hue from the circular ring and the brightness and saturation from the triangular area in the middle. The color history area shows the most recent swatches you used during painting. General brush options such as size, opacity, angle will be shown when you click on the arrow icon. A dialog box will appear with sliders for setting brush options. You can choose which options are shown in this dialog by clicking on the settings icon. You can even make extra features like flows appear or not appear here. The pop-up palette is like a Swiss Army knife. It contains most of what you need and gives you speed and flexibility in a compact format with a very convenient and functional user-friendly interface. Especially when you want to get away from all the menus and tools that make it difficult to focus, especially when only the canvas is visible, and you want to focus on your drawing, design, and painting works. Pop-up palette can meet many of your needs at the same time. We will cover navigation and shortcuts in detail, but let's quickly show a short example of using the pop-up palette on the canvas screen only. There are more specific settings for the pop-up palette in Krita's Configuration Settings section, which we will soon explore collectively and in more detail. For now, as an example, let's change the maximum number of brushes to be displayed in the pop-up palette to a higher value and examine it. Then we will look at the size settings. In fact, we're going to cover a lot of the detailed information and technical issues, including the pop-up palette, which we've already mentioned, and which we'll cover in more detail in the following chapters. Thus, we have provided an overview of many comprehensive technical information and features of the Krita interface. You can follow the previous and next episodes of the series, which will continue with more and different content in the following episodes on our channel. We plan to release a series of tutorials on our channel that will cover all this and more in detail. Let's keep exploring Krita software together and unleash our creativity. We will continue the series with much more beautiful trainings, and we will be with you again very soon.